are trying to convince us through reverse psychology that we are God's people when we're actually God. On today's episode of History is a Lie, none of that shit actually happened. Did you know that Judaism didn't become a formal religion until 70 CE? Everybody doesn't understand the CE, BCE thing, so I'll put it a different way. Judaism didn't become a formal religion until 40 years after Jesus died. Allegedly died. Not to mention, Hebrew wasn't a formal language until 130 years after Jesus died, allegedly. Meaning there was no way he was Jew and there was no way he spoke Hebrew. Furthermore, if Hebrew and Judaism don't exist until after Jesus is dead, they obviously don't exist before he lived. Despite the fact that we are given Jesus's patrilineal lineage, despite the fact that Jewish lineage, descent, inheritance, and heritage comes from the mother, despite the fact that that lineage goes all the way back to Abraham, who is deemed the father of Judaism, who would have lived almost 2,000 years before Judaism is a religion and 2,200 years before Hebrew is a language. Yeah, it's all lies. We are not Jews. We are not Hebrews. I don't know who them people are, but it's not us. The reason I know that is because the written past is their intended future. And the current present is the real past. Which is to say, that's some brand new shit. And we're not brand new, we're real old. They gave us their religion so that we would curse ourselves. Remember, a curse is a malediction. A malediction must be written or spoken. The Bible is the first massively produced book ever, with the publication of the Gutenberg Bible in 1455. They're lying. None of it happened. If they can convince us that they have withheld from us some grave secret, which is our identity as the Hebrew Israelites, then what will happen is that we will create the Old Testament. We're in the New Testament. I know it's confusing. What I'm suggesting is that their goal is to get us to exile ourselves. Their goal is for us to leave the promised land and part the Red Sea and believe that we are going to the promised land while we are in the desert. It's all lies. I can't stress it enough. Everything is a lie. There was no Aristotle, there was no Plato, there was no Socrates, there was no Greece, there was no Rome, there was no ancient Egypt. Obviously, those places may have existed in terms of the physical landscapes, but in terms of empires, they're lying. All of it is a lie, and not just the history, the science, the math. More than it being a lie, it's reverse psychology. It's reverse psychology. Your oppressor tells you who you are, and you believe it for long enough that you believe that your oppressor is hiding who you truly are from you. Whole time, you are neither who your oppressor told you you are or who you believe they hid from you that you are. You are God. That is on the back of the dollar. It is the apex, the head attached from its body. It's the chicken running with its heads cut off. Connect back with yourself so that we can rise to heaven. And the reason why this ultimately will break the matrix, and the reason why they don't want this to happen, and the reason why it is the game that is the chess game that they are playing, they are hoping that we never abandon the story, right? We never learn the reverse psychology, because when you realize that you are God, you realize that the devil cannot oppress you because you created the devil. No one can oppress you unless you give them the power to. You are not a slave. You are a prisoner of war, and the war is spiritual. Go win.